The morning the tow truck backed toward my driveway, and the HOA president tried to shut off my water for tampering with community property. Half the cul-de-sac wandered out with coffee like it was free entertainment. And Cheryl stood there in her sunglasses waving a stack of violations, while I just held my phone thumb resting on a video I knew would flip everything she thought she controlled. My name is Ethan, and I'm really not built for drama. I grew up counting every dollar, working every shift they'd give me. Dreaming about one simple thing, a little house where I could sleep, mow the lawn, water a few plants, maybe burn a couple burgers on Sundays, without anyone breathing down my neck. When I finally bought that brick place in Willow Creek Landing with its tree-lined streets and shiny stone sign that said, "A premier HOA community," I thought I'd made the safest choice on earth. First week I sat at my tiny kitchen table and read the rule book like it was a test. No boats in the driveway, no wild paint trash cans hidden. Keep things tidy. Fine. I can follow rules. Then I met Cheryl. She didn't show up with a pie or a welcome to the neighborhood. She came with a clipboard, walked straight up my driveway. Eyes scanning my truck, my porch chairs, my house numbers before she even looked at me. "You must be Ethan," she said. Tight smile. "I'm Cheryl Davenport, HOA president. We take standards very seriously." Not welcome, just a warning wrapped as a greeting. I shrugged it off. Figured maybe she was intense, but harmless. 3 weeks later, 6:05 a.m. Someone pounds on my front door like there's a fire. I open it half awake. She's there, holding a neon slip. "First violation," she says. "Your trash can was visible from the street for 17 minutes after pickup. We documented it." Completely serious. I try to laugh it off. 17 minutes, I'll set an alarm next time. She just circles something on her clipboard, turns, and walks away. That was the first moment I felt it. This isn't about the rules. This is about control. So I lock it down. Trash cans, perfect lawn-cut truck, parked with a measuring tape porch clear. Then, one Saturday, coffee in hand, I step outside to water the pepper plants I put in by the driveway, and my hose is already uncoiled, stretched from my spigot across my yard into Cheryl's flower bed. She's standing there in a floppy hat, watering her roses with my water like it's a community faucet. She looks over, not even guilty. "Oh good, you're up," she says. "I just borrowed a bit. Our pressure is awful." Community resources, right? With this little laugh. I stare at the meter I pay for and say, "That's my line, Cheryl." She rolls her eyes. "Don't be dramatic. It's just water we share around here." I tell her calmly, "Don't hook up to my tap again if you need something, ask." She mutters about uncooperative attitudes as she unclips the hose and walks off like I'm the problem. I wanted that to be a weird one-time thing. Then my next water bill comes in almost 40% higher. Same habits, same house. No leaks, but right around and then. Cheryl's yard suddenly looks like a golf course in a drought. One morning heading to work, I catch her again, hose locked to my spigot, washing her driveway with my water humming like it's a spa day. "Cheryl," I say, "we already talked about this." She doesn't even flinch. "File a complaint if you feel that strongly," she says. "I'll make sure it gets to the right place," and gives me this slow smile that says I am the place. That was the click. I'm not a lawyer, but I've got a friend Mason who's a plumber and a bit of a mad scientist. Over wings one night, I tell him everything. He laughs, then leans in. "You want this to stop, or you want her to never touch that tap again?" I tell him it has to be legal, safe, and send a message. So, one late-night phone propped under my porch light, Mason walks me through adding a pressure control and auto shut-off on my outside line. All of it on my property. All of it to code. Simple idea: if someone cranks that tap wide open like they own it, they get a few seconds of geyser-level drama, and then the water shuts off. No damage, just a reminder that not everything is hers. At the same time, I start documenting, because people like Cheryl live in denial, not doubt. I hide a small camera near the fence pointed at the spigot. Day after day, I see her slipping over, attaching her hose, filling kiddie pools, washing her SUV, then sending HOA emails about water conservation and irresponsible usage. I send one calm email to the full board, not just her, asking if there's any policy allowing other residents to use a private spigot. No answer. Instead, I get another violation. Unapproved external camera, visible from street. Signed by Cheryl. The obvious one comes down. The hidden one stays. The chance comes during Willow Creek's spring walkabout, Cheryl's favorite fake holiday. Neighbors stroll. She monologues about leadership and curb appeal. 10 minutes before it starts, I see her glance around, drag that green hose over like muscle memory, snap it onto my tap. From my window, I watch her twist the handle all the way. The line kicks, and then it hits. A roaring blast that launches straight into her face, knocks her hat sideways, sprays her dress, muddies her perfect flower bed. People on the sidewalk freeze, then start laughing. The water-wise queen is getting baptized in 4K. I step out. Keep my voice mild. "You all right, Cheryl?" She sputters. "Your plumbing is unsafe. This is a hazard. Like I attacked her. On my property, I say, might be safer if you stayed off my tap." 6 seconds, system resets, show's over. It could have ended with a bruised ego and a quiet lesson. Instead, that afternoon, an email drops, "Emergency compliance review, potential plumbing tampering, endangerment of adjacent property." Cheryl wants a hearing, mentions fines, suspension of privileges. Water access, subject to review. She is trying to take the one thing she's been stealing. A few days later, an HOA inspector in a polo shows up. Checks my setup, runs, the tap shrugs. "Looks standard to me." Cheryl hovers, desperate for him to say otherwise. He doesn't. As he walks off, she leans in and says, "This isn't over." She's right, but not the way she thinks. I sit down with the bylaws like it's homework. I find the line that says the HOA has no authority over privately metered exterior spigots that don't connect to common irrigation. I find the rule that board members can't enforce in cases where they have personal involvement. Cheryl has been signing every notice tied to me. Then my neighbor Angela, who used to be on the board before Cheryl froze her out, shows up with a folder. Inside screenshots of Cheryl waiving fines for friends, doubling fines for people she doesn't like. HOA card purchases for furniture that only sits in front of Cheryl's house. A fountain only on her circle, plus photos and timestamps of Cheryl using my tap. Suddenly, this isn't just about me being annoyed. This is about her hijacking a system we all pay for. A week later, I wake up to a red sticker on my door. Final notice, multiple violations, mandatory hearing, vehicle subject to tow, water access under review. All signed by Cheryl. I peel it off, look across the street. She's standing there. "If you can't respect the standards," she says, "maybe this community isn't for you." I just nod. "See you at the hearing." The day of the hearing, a tow truck idles at the end of my driveway like they're sure it's leaving with my truck. Folding chairs in the cul-de-sac, neighbors pretending this is casual while they film on their phones. Cheryl calls the meeting to order, lists her charges like she's in a courtroom. Unsafe plumbing, hostile attitude, repeated non-compliance. She tells the driver to stand by. I let her talk. When she's done, I say, "I've got a few things to share." I hook my phone up so the board can see hit play. On screen, Cheryl walking onto my property over and over, hooking her hose to my spigot, watering her yard, washing her car. All time-stamped. The same dates as her emails about my misuse. The noise in the crowd drops to that sharp silence where you can feel opinions flipping. Angela steps forward. Hands printed bylaws to the board. Points at the recusal rule. At Cheryl's signature on every notice lays down a summary of the questionable expenses. One board member goes pale. I don't raise my voice, I just say, "I pay my dues, I follow your rules." She comes onto my property, uses my water fines me for things that aren't violations, and signs everything herself. How is that not abuse? Cheryl snaps. This is out of context. He rigged his line to attack me. He's dangerous, grabbing at anything. I look at the board. If I'm as dangerous as she says, why is she the one on video using my tap again and again? Someone in the back laughs. The tow truck driver leans on his hood. The board pulls aside for a couple minutes. Then the oldest guy steps up. Effective immediately, all enforcement actions against Mr. Cole are suspended. His fines are void, and Cheryl is removed as acting president pending an independent audit. And no drum roll, just a sentence that takes the crown off her head. She stares at them, then at me. "You're making a mistake," she says. "You need someone who holds the line." Nobody answers. The tow truck leaves. Neighbors drift off phones, buzzing with the footage. I walk past her toward my porch. She spits out, "You think you won?" I stop just long enough to say, "I think I stopped you," and go inside. On paper, that's the satisfying ending. Bully exposed, fines gone, water still mine. But later, watching the replay on my phone, I felt something a little heavier. I set that trap. I collected clips. I waited for a public moment to hit play. She abused her power absolutely, but I turned my front yard into a courtroom, and I knew exactly how hard it would land. You can call it justice. You can call it survival. You can say she had it coming. I won't argue. Still, it raises a question. If you were in my shoes, someone was stealing from you, hiding behind a title, writing bogus violations trying to push you out of the home you worked your whole life for, would you keep filing quiet complaints and hope the system woke up someday? Or would you do what I did? Gather proof, expose them in front of everyone. Make sure they don't get to play hero while they rob you blind. Tell me in the comments whether I went too far or not far enough. Share your HOA stories, your nightmare neighbors, the bosses, or boards that twisted the rules. Because this isn't just about one. Karen with a hose, it's about power boundaries and what people decide to do when they think no one's watching.